It was a cold November night in a small town outside Sacramento, California. The sky was dark, the roads were slick with rain, and the wind carried the distant hum of motorcycles slicing through the silence. A group of Hell's Angels, tough-looking men in leather jackets with heavy boots and grim faces, were returning from a charity ride for local veterans. Their leader, Jake Bulldog Mason, rode at the front, his eyes scanning the dimly lit streets. As they neared an old service road leading to an abandoned industrial area, Jake caught sight of a faint, flickering light coming from inside a rundown garage. At first, he thought it might be kids fooling around or someone trying to steal parts from old cars left there. But something about that light felt off. It wasn't steady. It trembled, like a candle fighting against the cold air. "Pull over," Jake signaled, his voice muffled under his helmet. The group slowed down, their engines growling before dying into silence. The air smelled of wet earth and rust. When Jake pushed open the garage door, the creak echoed like a scream in the still night. What they saw inside stopped them cold. In the far corner, under a pile of tattered blankets, sat a woman and 4 children. Their faces were pale, their bodies shivering. The woman looked exhausted, her lips blue and her leg twisted awkwardly, clearly injured. The children clung to her, their eyes wide with fear. An old lantern flickered beside them, barely giving enough light to see. Jake stepped forward slowly, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "Hey, you all right?" he asked, his deep voice softening. But before he could take another step, the oldest boy, probably 11 or 12, moved in front of his siblings, spreading his arms like a shield. His voice shook as he whispered, "Please, don't kill us." The words hit Jake like a punch. His crew looked at each other, speechless. These kids thought they were the danger. For a moment, no one spoke. The rain pattered on the tin roof, and the youngest girl started crying quietly. Jake crouched down, his eyes level with the boys. Hey, we're not here to hurt you, kid. You're safe now," he said gently. The boy didn't move, but his mother stirred weakly, trying to speak. We crashed. No one came." "Please don't hurt my children." Jake's throat tightened. He'd seen a lot of rough nights in his life, but this one felt different. He motioned to one of his men. "Get the truck, now." Within minutes, they brought in blankets, water, and a first aid kit. As the bikers worked quietly, trying to warm the kids, Jake looked at the trembling family and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Compassion. That night, the Hell's Angels, men feared by most, became protectors of the innocent. And for the first time, Jake realized that even devils could be someone's angels when the world goes dark. Rain kept falling outside the garage, tapping on the metal roof like a slow heartbeat. The Hell's Angels surrounded the small family, their tough exteriors softening as they realized how fragile the situation was. The mother, Emily, was pale and trembling, clutching her leg wrapped in a torn piece of fabric. Her children huddled close, too scared to speak. Jake Bulldog Mason, the gang leader, knelt beside her with a bottle of water and his jacket. "Here," he said gently, draping the leather over her shoulders. "You're freezing." Emily looked at him with tired, wary eyes. Why are you helping us?" she whispered. Jake sighed. "Because you need it. That's all that matters right now." The bikers lit a small camping heater from their truck, bringing warmth into the space. The youngest girl clutched a granola bar one of the bikers handed her, eating like she hadn't seen food in days. Slowly, the tension began to ease. But the fear in their eyes told a deeper story, one that hadn't been spoken yet. Jake poured some water onto a rag and cleaned the blood from Emily's leg. "What happened out here? How long have you been stuck?" he asked softly. Emily took a shaky breath, glancing at her kids before she spoke. "We were driving from Oregon to Los Angeles," she began, her voice trembling. "The car broke down on the highway 2 nights ago. I tried calling for help, but then men showed up." Jake's eyes narrowed. "What men?" Her lips quivered. "They said they'd help, but they weren't good people. They tried to take our money, our car. One of them hit me when I fought back. I told the kids to run, and we hid here when it started raining." She paused, tears spilling down her cheeks. "We thought they'd come back." When we heard your bikes, we thought it was them." The garage went silent. Even the toughest biker among them clenched his fists. The idea of grown men attacking a mother and 4 little kids made Jake's blood boil. "They're cowards," he muttered, "and they're not gonna hurt you again." He stood, turning to his men. "Tank, radio the sheriff. Tell him we've got an injured woman and 4 kids stranded. Get an ambulance out here fast." While one of the bikers made the call, Jake stayed close to the kids. The oldest boy, still cautious, finally spoke. "You're not bad guys?" Jake smiled faintly. "Nah, kid. We've done dumb things, but hurting people like you? That's not who we are." For the first time, the boy relaxed a little. The little girl leaned against Jake's arm, whispering, "You smell like gasoline and cookies." The gang laughed quietly, the tension breaking. When the distant sirens finally echoed down the road, Jake helped carry Emily to safety. As the paramedics loaded her into the ambulance, she looked at him with gratitude. "You saved us," she said softly. Jake shook his head. "No, ma'am. You and those kids saved something in us." Weeks passed since that cold night in the abandoned garage, but the memory stayed with Jake, Bulldog Mason, and his crew. Emily had healed from her injuries, the children's laughter gradually replacing the fear that once haunted their eyes. The police had tracked down the men who attacked the family, thanks to the bikers' quick thinking and eyewitness statements. Justice was served, but for Jake, the real victory was something deeper, a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. One crisp morning, Jake rode his Harley down the sunlit streets of Sacramento, the wind whipping past his leather jacket. He stopped outside the hospital where Emily and her children had been recovering. From a distance, he watched them, healthy, smiling, and safe. Emily waved, her face glowing with gratitude, and the kids ran toward him, arms open. "You came!" the oldest boy shouted, hugging Jake tightly. Jake smiled, ruffling his hair. "Told you we'd check on you." The youngest girl clung to his leg, whispering, "You're our angel." Jake chuckled, a warmth spreading through him that had nothing to do with the California sun. Later, Emily and Jake sat in the hospital garden. "You didn't have to help us," she said quietly. "You could have just ridden away." Jake shook his head. "Maybe not everyone sees it, but we have our code. You protect the ones who can't protect themselves. That night, you and your kids needed protection. And maybe we needed to do the right thing, too." The conversation lingered with Jake long after he left the hospital. He realized that helping the family had sparked something in him, a chance to show the world that even those with rough exteriors and inked sleeves could choose kindness over violence. He shared the story with his Hells Angels chapter, and soon they organized a charity ride called Angels on the Road to raise funds for victims of accidents and abuse. The ride became a symbol in their town, showing that courage and compassion could exist in unexpected places. Months later, Jake was refueling his bike at a gas station when a familiar voice called out, "Mr. Jake!" He turned to see the youngest girl running toward him, a wide grin on her face. Emily trailed behind, smiling proudly. The sight of them reminded him that small acts of mercy could ripple far beyond a single moment. "You came back," the girl shouted, hugging him tightly. "Mom says you're our angel." Jake's eyes softened. "Guess I can live with that," he said, smiling. As the engines of his motorcycle roared to life, Jake looked down the open highway stretching toward the horizon. He understood something important that day. Redemption wasn't found in a church or a confession. It wasn't in a medal or a title. It was in moments when fear meets courage, when innocence meets protection, and when someone whispers, "Don't kill us," and you answer not with violence, but with mercy. That ride into the sunrise wasn't just a journey on asphalt. It was a ride into a new life, one where the Hells Angels, once feared for their toughness, became protectors, heroes, and in the eyes of a small family, real angels. And for Jake, that was a feeling worth more than any trophy, any roar of an engine, or any tattoo inked into his skin. That night in the garage had changed him forever, proving that even in the darkest moments, light could come from the most unexpected places.